Hey, what's up, traders? This is Rocky and Vlad coming back at you with another week of just, what we did with our thoughts throughout the week and what we're looking at going forward into next week. So this week, you can see that I finished this week with a $3,000, which is a decent little week, Uh, overall for the month at 18K, this is my best month ever when we still have a week left, which is I'm really excited about. Um, this week in particular, we had Monday off, which kind of threw me off because honestly, I didn't even know that Monday we were like I thought Monday we were going to be trading. I thought it was just a short day. So when I found out the market was actually closed, that kind of threw me off. But coming into that Tuesday, still had good opportunities. This week in general was decent, just overall P&L wise. I did make a big mistake on Friday. We'll talk about it later. Uh, but going into Tuesday, just locking in singles to 16. Yeah, just locking in singles from over just locking in singles that happened over the long weekend. You can see I had a swing from BTSC because Bitcoin is still turning up. I believe it's above 50K now, so still something to watch going into the following weeks. The stocks on Friday didn't move as much as I in, intended on doing, but still something that you have to keep your eye on. But yeah, Monday was just locking in singles. Didn't do as well as I wanted to, as always, but still a nice little day. Wednesday was break even. Thursday we'll have to go into um, the 18th. So on Thursday it was just locking in nice singles. See, I actually started off this one with an OTC panic dip buy, which was Viper. Actually, all of these were OTC panic dip buys, which made sense on why. Actually, SAP was not. Made sense on why I made the money that I made that day because I was just very comfortable with the pattern. Um, still on some of them, like I missed out on Circ, which I was alerting in the in our group chat. And Circ, if you look at just the opportunity that presented and kind of made me upset that I missed it, was just the chart was so beautiful on this day. So if you go into Circ on the 18th, you can look and see that at kind of it just had its breaking out day. But the bigger picture of the why this worked was just because it sold off so much. Um, you can see that it's just been downtrending from $3 all the way to a bottom of 132. And if you look at the 15-minute chart of Circ, you kind of see like just to me, you kind of saw like just a clear trend of a breakout. Well, not like a triangle type play where you get it's just clear pattern right here. And once it breaks over 147, boom, you get that extension, and that's exactly what happened. I actually had shares of this at 145, but I got shook out in this at this 140 this 142. I one the ones that broke this to 143. I shook myself out, and that's something just to note for later. Probably just use an even more clear defined risk. If it breaks under that 140, actually, I should have probably used 140 risk and then called it a day from there because my intentions on the trade were very good. I just didn't give it enough time to actually work. So that's something that I'm looking at going to next week. Another trade that I messed up was I don't have it listed on this on my P&L sheet yet, but it is NASV. So this one, yes, this finished green on the day, which is cool because it still may give me another opportunity to dip by it. But right here, you can see if you go to my percent calculator and I'll type in 0.042 and you draw my 30 line, we get 0.0294. And this is a mistake that I did when I was just actually trading this in the moment. I did not recognize that, like, hey, this is a perfect setup. And on perfect setups, you should have conviction and you should be patient, more patient on them and accept taking the loss. And in the moment of this trade, during this moment, I was only up about $200 on the day, which just was not good. Well, actually, I was up about $200 on the day, which to me at this point, I know it just doesn't sound good at all, but it just was not good enough for me, and I just completely lost conviction in this trade. One thing that kind of made me lose more conviction in the trade though was I had a 0.029 average, right? So with the 0.029 average, the most that I could lose my trigger on the exit at was 0.0277. That's my full size loss for it. That's the most I'm willing to lose. So the fact that it already kind of pulled below 2077 made me really, really nervous because I entered in on this wick right here. Like I got filled completely on this wick right here. And this stock, it just had a lot of range with the amount that the spread just was going up and down. And when it confirmed over 3, I just did not let it run enough. When I saw that it was working, I got nervous right on this wick right here when I thought that it would break down again. And that's just something that I have to get better at. Just be willing to accept the loss if it happens, because this was more about just being scared to lose than, and not seeing what I know the pattern can do. I know the pattern can make me over 10%, which is selling at 0.0319. But I did not see this pattern through at all. And this is the reason my P&L on Friday was so just trash. But other than that, not really too many mistakes this week. Just continuing to get better and grow as a trader. As me and Vlad were talking about before we started, I've noticed that I've been noticing that the OTCs are kind of slowing down just compared to the number of plays that were the number of good plays that we're getting. If I go into my my scanner, you can see that we only have 25 plays that are above 10% and meeting all of my criteria, which is over 3,000 trades, a million in volume, and 10% on the day. And the fact that we only have 25, and in comparison, when last week and a couple days before that, we would be having 50, almost 50, 60, 70 plays of the same criteria. And just that little subtlety that I've noticed. Yes, there still are opportunities in the OTCs, but I feel like you could tell that the OTC market is kind of slowing down a little. And I was just saying, this is the point in every trader's career where, like, yeah, your niche is slowing down. What are you going to do next to make money? Are you going to be able to just shift and be able to go do something else? And that's the next level that I believe that I'm trying to take personally. But going into some more stats for the month, you can see that see that I'm having a very, very good month with a 5.86 profit factor, which is crazy good. Anything over five means that you're elite. Four means that you're really good. Two means that you're profitable, like just breaking profitable. Three just means you're like average, but five and above is when you really um start reaching new heights. You can see my average winning trade has been about $527. Average loser 247, which is cool, but I'm winning at 73%, losing 26%, and I've only taken 60 trades throughout this whole entire month. Um, and my average daily gain has been $1,300, which is very, very cool. Um, but other than that, I don't have anything else to say. Just going into next week with just the same mindset that I had this week, knowing that less is more. The market is kind of shifting, and just locking in and focusing in on those good setups, and also trying to look for other areas throughout the market for potential good plays. But I'm gonna switch it over to Vlad right now.
All right, so let's get my screen. You can see
Are
my
you
screen.
good?
All right.
Yep.
So for me, finished the week up $6,676.06, and again Monday was an off day. Um, so few lessons that I had this week, and I think the biggest one was actually BTSC. Um, that was a winning trade, but it's the way that I got the win that I didn't like. Let's see if I can find it. This was, I think, on. Yep, there it is. So I made $1,200 on it, and I'm gonna go over why I say like the way that I got it wasn't ideal. All right, so looking at the yearly chart, let me remove this trend line that I drew. So it was on this day that I bought it. So looking at the yearly, this is a breakout. So you have resistance over here, which was at 12.22, and this stock was just trending up. Now my entry in itself, I think my entry was fine, but the sales for it. All right, so it was on this day. So in the morning, stock spiked up. Then it, did this little consolidation. Then for a while, it was just going sideways. And, sideways trying to break 13. And it couldn't break 13. I mean, it was just going sideways. As soon as it broke 13, I immediately got in. And my risk, I was risking off of this here. Because since that's the closest area. So I got in massive size. I mean, more than I normally, would get. Um, so I got massive size here. So the stock started going up, and it had this hard dip right here. Now, in my mind, I was up like maybe like $600 here. I was like, well, it's a breakout. It's a breakout. Just let it work. Let it do its thing, which I did. But once this thing takes out this area of support, I should be getting out, which I didn't. You know, I didn't get out on this, so instead, it just started tanking. Now, mind you, my entry's right here, and I didn't cut. Instead of cutting, I went ahead and dip bought right here. So I doubled down. Now, after like in the moment, you know, I knew that was a bad decision, even though it worked out. But the fact that I'm double downing on here and saying, okay, now my new risk is gonna be here. Like my risk initially was right here. The fact that I'm moving it right here, even though I got a lower average, is just it's not gonna work every time. Probably majority of the time, it's not gonna work. So the fact that I did that, double down right here, even though I caught it like perfectly, I don't know, like if it was just the stress of me being down, and I'm like, yo, this gotta work. It just that my whole mind frame on this was bad. Yes, Bitcoin was up, um, and yes, like other factors was going in that I found out later on after I went back and re-reviewed the chart. But just in the moment of not knowing any of these factors, that's why I say like this is definitely a bad trade. So I dip bought it here. So I end up I think at this point I maybe have like a $15,000 position, like total, with this dip. So as soon as it bounced and got close to here, I was like, "Yep, let me just go ahead and." After it did this nasty crash again, the next bounce, I was like, "Yeah, let me just get out." So I just got out right around here, and I didn't touch it anymore. So, couple of factors with this trade. What I ended up finding out later was the reason why this had, because I was looking at Bitcoin just to see what Bitcoin was doing, and Bitcoin was up, but BTSC was actually following Riot. So Riot, at the time of that trade, it took a nasty fall. I think it's right here. Like it started taking this nasty fall. So BTSC took the same little nasty fall, but just on the on the OTC level. So that was one factor, and also once Riot started bouncing, and I think like when I was, when I started getting after the first dip happened, and I was looking at Riot, then I realized, okay, just follow Riot, and if Riot is continuing to uptrend, you could stay in it. If not, then you could get out. But eventually, I was just like, nah, you're up, and your emotions was all out of whack because of that trade. So it's best for you to just get out. So one thing about it that I'm starting to notice, and I mean I saw this on the weed stocks. The leader for the weed stock was Telray, TLRY, and the day that this stock had its crash, like it offered no bounce. What was it? There it is right here. Like it had a first initial bounce, but then after that there was like really no bounce to it, just straight down. And stocks like MME, what was MMNFF? Stocks like this, I know we went over this last week, but it offered no bounce at all either. I think it was on this day, like no bounce, and it was just pretty much following the same thing. So I say all that to say this: like anytime that you're playing sector leaders, you definitely gotta know. I mean, a sector play, you definitely gotta know what the sector leader is doing. Because if you don't know what the sector leader is doing, you may have conviction and be like, oh, this stock's supposed to keep going up, because like I said, Bitcoin, it was still up. It was still above 50. I think it was like 51, 52. But Riot, which is the sector leader, it's going the opposite of Bitcoin. Normally, it's supposed to go the same direction, but it will just go in the opposite, and this started affecting some of the OTCs. So for me, that was like the biggest lesson. Do not, I repeat, do not try to double down on a position, because like I said, my conviction was like, okay, Bitcoin's up, so this should be bouncing as well too. Even though I end up making money off of it, but the next one, it may not be, may not be the same. So that was one lesson. Second lesson for me, I think it was just playing, just waiting till the market open. Like I haven't been playing Nasdaq stocks, like rarely this month, and I normally I wake up around like 5:30 in the morning, do my routine. So I got in front of the computer yesterday. Before all that, and because I knew Bitcoin was up, I think it was at like 52 or 53 at the time. So I looked up just to see what stocks that's in the because I got a Bitcoin watch list, just to see what stocks that are up or that are not moving yet. And if I'm gonna play pre-market, I need to have pre-market size and not trying to go full size. There it is. I lost $385 off of this stock, all because of my conviction was saying, oh, Bitcoin is up, Bitcoin is going higher, then this should too. So I was randomly bought, like I was buying it right here, like it's literally like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm buying full size. So, so like things like that, because yesterday I should have had a lot better of a day, but I had to start the morning off with digging myself out of a hole because I was buying in here. I think I had like a 354 average, like 3,000 shares or something like that. Then this just started dipping. I'm like, yo, Bitcoin's up. This is a Bitcoin stock, so you should be up. Then the market opened. I didn't cut. No, pre-market I had 2,000 shares. Then when the market opened, like during this little consolidation, I added on another 1,000 shares. I thought it should have went here, which it didn't. So since it didn't, I just ended up cutting like right around here, and just left it alone. But had I just waited, like even if it's not the taking the loss is not the issue. It's just the fact that I'm going at it the wrong way. Like had I just waited till the market open and just had the thesis, it would have saved me a couple of dollars, because had I, got in here or got in like right here and it just slammed down, I probably would have lost the same dollar amount. But to me, that's more of a controlled loss. You have liquidity. The market's open. If you go in full size, yes, you could immediately just get out. And if you're really that strong on the play, you could always re-enter. But going into pre-market and you're taking like really big size or full size on some of the plays, you're not, your emotional state is not going to be there, especially of the liquidity. And that was the prime reason, one of the reasons why I got the watch list out so late, because I was just watching this like a hawk, and I'm still in there trying to do the watch list as well too. So yeah. So really overall this week, all the other trades that I taken, I guess I'll go over one last one. BFARF. I thought that one was pretty good based upon the thesis of it. BFARF, I'm sorry, is a Bitcoin play. Had a breakout over here, and and then had this huge gap up like the next day. Like it break out as 463, had this huge gap up the next day, got the 7, and from 7 it just started tanking. So it's tanking, but Bitcoin is going up. Riot sector leader is going up. So the first thing that I'm thinking, like, yo, this is gonna be a good dip buy opportunity because it just, because of the panic. So I figured with this one, it may not panic as much. I mean, I wanted it to, because all the other factors were going, was going the opposite direction of this play. So as soon as I saw like the green candle here, I got in at like 648. So 648 was my first entry. Then I sold. I sold like around like 655. So 655. Then once I saw this little dip, because I was expecting this to come back down and maybe have another panic, since it didn't, and I saw this dip and it was holding up. So I just slammed on 4,000 shares right here, and I was gonna risk low of the day right here. So I got in at I think like 640, like 645 ish.
That was a nice trade.
Yeah, and it's from like seeing this over and over. Like you'll have like a hard panic. It try to go up, and there was like a massive resistance at like the 660s. Then once that sell off and it holds, like I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible now. If I'm getting in here, then just risk low of day. You could calculate how many shares you're willing, even with slippage, how much are you willing to lose. So I got in right here, and I just rode the wave. I think I sold majority up over here. Then I left just a small piece. I had 4,000 shares, so I left 500 shares just to see if it was going to continue to go. So I just rode the wave. Once I saw that it did like a double top here, and I was like, okay, if it crossed below here, then I just need to get out. It did. So I just got out with the last 500. So overall, it was a pretty good trade. Well calculated. And I think just the process of that, like if I could, keep the same mindset of how I did this trade with majority of my trade, just having like a clear, a clear risk level, a clear entry point, and just like have a clear thesis, because sometimes I'll get in trades, it'll be based upon one thing, and it might work, it might not work, which is not good. I need to have like multiple things that's going to support why am I getting into this stock. So,
shoot, one thing, look at the time of day when you sold.
Yeah.
It's like your last piece.
Yeah, like right here.
That's 11 o'clock.
Yep. Because what ended up happening to this, it ended up tanking. So definitely good, getting better, and that's one thing that at the end of the day, the money is awesome. I'm not gonna lie about that, but just getting better on the day-to-day basis, like seeing growth as a trader, like that really excites me, because if I could get better each day, the money's gonna take care of itself. But that's pretty much all I have. Unless you have anything you want to add to it.
I'm good.
All right, guys, we're gonna sign off now. Hope you enjoyed this review.